for joining us. This segment is brought to you by Middle Park Medical Center. Keeping life grand, lots of services, all services offered. You don't have to go to Denver, lots of different specialties and all that kind of things right here in the county. So Middle Park Medical Center, you can check them out at mpmc.org. Tom and Mimi were talking Constitution and what a great document to most people and how it founded our country, and it's just so different. And I think that we come from England with one ruler and then they had to be such visionaries to think it could be different, right?
Right.
Not only to think it could be different, but then to think of the details that were necessary to spread the power.
Right.
You know, they had come from one person being in control,
Yep.
so they knew what it was like to have
Yep.
all the power in one person.
Yeah.
And they didn't want that. So not only were they visionaries, and not only were they a bit of rebels, but they also had to come up with a solution.
Right.
You know, something to do instead of.
Yeah.
And that's where the U.S. Constitution is unique.
Yeah.
It really is.
Right. Do you feel like, I mean, in learning and in being part of Constitution Week and putting on the event, that you now are passionate, both of you, about something that you would not maybe have thought that you would be?
I would say I pay attention to a lot more of what's going on
Yeah.
now than I ever have
Yeah.
before in my life, and I think when we're talking about the difference between other countries and ourselves in this limited government, we're the only country in the world that ever thought that way.
Right.
To limit government instead of government ruling the people.
Right.
We're ruling the government.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that's really, really unique as far as the United States of America
Right.
goes. So
Good place to live, right?
Yeah, for sure.
their people are still coming here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into what we're going to learn about this year at Constitution Week, and different speakers. We talked about one of them, the professor, going to come in, and these speakers are really not just random historians and random that focus on the Constitution in their studies and in their practice.
Absolutely. They really know what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
We have constitutional scholars
That's
coming.
awesome.
Some of them are constitutional lawyers.
Okay.
We have a couple of people this year that I think are kind of unique because they've lived in foreign countries and experienced what those constitutions, if you can call it that, or what their rule of law is like compared to ours.
Right.
And so it makes you even more grateful,
Yeah.
you know, that we have what we have
Yeah.
in the U.S. Constitution. We're doing two kind of new things this year, too. Do you want to tell them about?
Well, yeah. Thank you, Mimi. So the way this has worked out for this year's schedule is almost like the first half of the week, the first three speakers, we're kind of comparing other countries to America, and the advantages of living in a constitutional republic.
Okay.
And for example, on Tuesday night, I've been trying to get this gal for a couple of years now. Her name is Lily Tang Williams. Okay. She actually lived under the influence of Mao, lived in China, and actually she's coming to talk to us about her journey from living in China to coming to the United States and becoming a citizen and learning the Constitution. So we really are excited to have her here to learn about that and her experiences. And then Vince McGuire, who's going to be at the Middle Park High School on Wednesday night.
Okay.
With the students.
With the
Students are
students.
doing a
Awesome.
presentation.
Students are doing
Very
something.
cool. Okay. Okay.
He spent some time at the University of Iraq and actually has some fascinating stories about life in Iraq, and then to contrast that with living in America and where he's from. So the first half of the week is about kind of about that, about how lucky we are to live in America, and then the second half is more about constitutional law and about it's police officers.
Let me tell.
Yeah,
I want to tell. This is my favorite part.
Okay.
First of all, though, on Monday night we've got Rob Nadelson. He's part of that threesome that's at the first part of the week.
Yep.
And then that last part of the week, we're doing some really cool things.
Yeah.
We've got Kranawitters on Thursday. Thomas Kranawitter on Thursday, and he's a constitutional lawyer. Am I right?
Scholar lawyer.
Scholar, lawyer, whatever. And then on Friday, The Grand County Sheriff's Department is hosting
Okay.
an evening that is called Law Enforcement Night Out.
Yes.
Okay.
And all the sheriffs and law enforcement all over the state have been invited to come. And we have 2 great speakers that night. Our keynote speaker that will actually do his big presentation on Saturday is Milwaukee County Sheriff David A. Clark.
Okay.
And he will be there on Friday night at this special ticketed
Awesome.
event. And also Richard Mack,
Okay.
who has actually he has argued a case before the Supreme Court. He was sheriff in Arizona.
Yep,
In
yep.
Arizona.
Yep.
Okay.
I think he's retired now, but he
Okay.
does a lot of speaking.
Cool.
Both of them will be there that night
Awesome.
At the Grand Lake
at the
Lodge.
Grand Lake Lodge.
Okay,
And
okay.
we're pretty proud that our sheriff's
Yeah.
department is going to host
Yeah.
this.
So that's the Friday night event.
That's the Friday night event.
Okay,
And
okay.
tickets can be bought $50 a person.
Okay.
$25 for law enforcement.
Excellent.
They can get them from the chamber
Okay,
in Grand Lake
okay.
or from Connie Williams, and I don't know her email. We'll give you her email.
It's down below here.
Yeah, we'll give you her email. That's on Friday night.
Okay.
And then Saturday, we have the parade. We have an expo for nonprofit organizations. They have free booths
Excellent.
all around the community house yard for a
Excellent.
nonprofit expo.
Okay.
And then Sheriff Clark will do the keynote speaking
Awesome.
after the parade.
Cool.
And then fireworks, of course.
Fireworks,
Right.
of course.
Which brought us into this in the first place.
And Saturday, September 17th is our date.
Yes,
Right?
for the
For
keynote
the
speech.
For the
Keynote.
keynote. Yeah.
Cool. And do you guys, when you are finding your keynote, do you say, hey, just talk about whatever, or relevant to what's happening in the country now, or specialties depending?
Actually, I'm the one that's probably brought up the speakers.
Yeah.
And so I find they do their best when they talk about what their favorite topic is.
Okay.
And generally it seems to have always worked thus far. I mean, we've
Awesome.
had 15 different speakers in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
counting this year.
Yeah.
I would imagine David Clark will be talking about the Constitution and the relevance to law enforcement.
Right. Right. Which is a subject that should be talked about right now.
Especially with
Well-
the loss of police officers.
Yeah.
Right.
That Friday night event is not only to celebrate the Constitution, but to really thank and celebrate our law enforcement.
Right.
And so we know we're going to have a huge
That's awesome.
turnout of law enforcement
awesome.
people that we can celebrate and thank.
Yeah. And the whole schedule you can find on usconstitutionweek.org.
Yes, you
Correct.
can.
Right? Soon or now or
Right there.
Now,
Good, good. And then we hope people come out and listen and learn and kind of maybe be inspired to help you guys out. And
It's a family week too.
Good.
So,
Okay.
if people are coming from outside the county,
yep,
they want to make their reservations.
Yeah, okay.
Because it gets filled
Yeah.
pretty fast.
cool.
But know that they can bring their kids too. That
Awesome.
It's going to be a fun week.
Good.
yeah, and
good.
so the plan is you hike during the day and
Yeah.
then you go to a speaker at night.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep,
Perfect.
and then it's we usually do free tapas and cash bar.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well,
Come on
thanks for
over.
guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
September 12th through the 17th.
Yep.
This year, just right around the corner.
Yeah.
Mimi and Tom, okay, joining us. usconstitutionweek.org for all of the details about all of the speakers and all of that kind of stuff. Coming up next, we're going to keep the tone of our show and talk about the Prop 69 discussion. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see what that's about and how that's going to affect Colorado. We'll be back here on TV 18.